Hello and welcome to another edition of Wealthy and Wise. I'm your host, Court Christie, and today we are going to be talking about trusts. Everything you need to know about trusts in 15 minutes. Yes, 15 minutes. So I brought in today a very special guest. We have attorney Kurt Harris of the Harris Law Group, and Kurt is here to educate us and entertain us. Welcome, Kurt.
Thank you. It's great to be here today.
Well, Kurt, there are an array of different types of trusts that are out there, and I know you have an expertise in several of them, but give us a little background. First of all, what is a trust?
Well, a trust is essentially, it's a contract, and the contract is between yourself as the drafter of the trust and your beneficiaries and your trustee. So you make provisions in there that you want your trustee to follow so that he can bring those to your beneficiaries and effectuate the purposes of this contract that you've essentially drafted between yourself and others who you intend to leave certain things to.
Okay, so are there trusts that are specialty trusts, just unique for something like holding just a single asset?
Yeah, there certainly are. There's a lot of them, and they equate to like a single-purpose trust. You've heard some people refer to single-purpose LLCs, but you can have single-purpose trusts, like the Real Estate Privacy Trust or Land Trust is one of those single-purpose trusts that was constructed and drafted for the sole purpose of holding a single piece of real estate. And so that is like a single-purpose trust. And you can have many others for other things like RRA accounts or life insurance trusts or other single-purpose trusts for which you can effectuate the benefit for a group of beneficiaries that might be separate and apart from your other assets of your estate.
Now, I was told, Kurt, that there's even a trust just to hold a gun. If you have a gun, why would somebody want to put a gun in a trust?
Gun trusts are becoming incredibly more popular these days as the federal firearms license generally has kicked in. And so to effectuate the proper transfer of a firearm, you have to have an intermediary or somebody in the middle who can with a federal firearms license who can effectuate the transfer. So you can't legally leave your firearm to your spouse or to one of your children. You have to have someone with an FFL come in and do the transfer legally so far as the federal law is concerned. But if you were to leave it through a gun trust, there is a way to leave that to your beneficiaries by way of that trust that doesn't require the FFL or a third party who's going to charge your beneficiary to effectuate the transfer.
Interesting. So there's trusts for all sorts of different things. You mentioned one, which was insurance. Now, if I had life insurance, what is the advantage to me of putting that into a trust?
I really like the irrevocable life insurance trust. They're also known as ILITs. And so those trusts are set up in such a way that once you make a certain amount of the premium payments, then the trust takes over and it makes the rest. The trust also has individual beneficiaries that's named, and generally, as in all life insurance policies, that's a tax-free transfer or distribution, but this is a way that I can keep some strings attached by way of my trustee to my beneficiaries, so that I'm not just leaving it all to them on the date of my death. Some of my beneficiaries might be minors, they might need some help financially, or I may have some beneficiaries that I'm concerned about that aren't living their lives quite the way they want. I might have a member of my family or a beneficiary who has a drug problem or something like that, and I can ask my trustee to have a drug test done before making a distribution from that life insurance policy by way of my life insurance trust.
Interesting. So you've got several different types of trusts that are out there, and I know when we talk about trust, generally speaking, we think of it in terms of estate planning. We think of it in terms of sort of preparing our personal assets to go to our loved ones or a charity or a church or something that you want your assets to go to ultimately. How do you lay the foundation properly for sort of an estate plan? What type of trust do you use for that, Kurt?
Well, as far as the beginning phase of the estate plan, we recommend the revocable living trust to every single person. That's an AB trust or a married couples trust or whatever they want to call it. It depends on what's in vogue on the internet at this particular time, but it's a revocable living trust, and that is kind of the building blocks of all the other estate plans. And you branch out from there. And so you might have other trusts that involve real estate properties. You might have a pet trust for that beloved pet that you might have. You might have certain insurance policies that you need to control by way of those insurance trusts. Or you might have other things that you might want to put into irrevocable trust that might be a little more specific. Like, for instance, I have a family cabin that I want to protect for my legacy or for my next generation of family. I'm never going to sell the family cabin. I will never do that during my lifetime. So I might transfer that into an irrevocable trust at this time so that it will go to my beneficiaries down the road. And now I've effectively taken it out of my estate with the trust having to pay the property taxes on that particular asset.
Interesting. So you've got this foundation, which revocable living trust is there to help get you through probate, eliminate the judges and the attorneys from getting in your affairs in your life. And it's an efficient way of just really moving the things that you have today to the people that you want to end up with those things at some future point. Now, when we go beyond that, what would be the next level? Now, I know Nevada has some unique laws, Kurt, and what do they have in the way of special trust laws here in Nevada?
Well, we do have a very hybrid special trust known as the Nevada Asset Protection Trust, also known as the NAPT. And that is an irrevocable trust that can be modified, or that you can make certain changes to it, and the actual grantor of that irrevocable trust can be a beneficiary of that trust. And so what that does require here in Nevada is that the trust property be property of Nevada, or that it be here in Nevada, and that you have at least one of your 3 required trustees be here in the state of Nevada. Now, you can serve as one of the trustees, the investment trustee, because this property has been yours. It was always yours. You accumulated it, and so who better to manage it? And you might also have a trust protector who serves as a second trustee, and then you need a resident trustee here in the state of Nevada. But that enables you to set up a trust, to put assets into that trust that are irrevocable, meaning no one can get at them by way of you. If you were to incur that liability, they can't get the assets. And down the road or currently, you can be the beneficiary of that trust. It's very unique, and it's a very high-end trust that enables you to really reap the benefits of your assets without them being at risk or you fully controlling them, yet you still maintain a certain degree of control on them.
Interesting. So you have these kind of building blocks, it sounds like, for your estate planning purposes. You can go from a revocable trust to maybe a Nevada asset protection trust, sort of a specialty trust for holding things. What about if I'm trying to pass on a large, valuable estate to anyone, my kids, family, whatever, and I'm trying to get ahead of the estate taxes that they have in the world, in the United States of America? I think right now we can give up to just over $12 million estate tax free. But one of the things with estate taxes is they get very high once you get over that amount, and you're talking about 40% taxes. And you heard me right, folks. You who might have an estate grow over time, as we all hope that we do, once you're over that 12 million mark, all of a sudden your kids are going to have to pay from your estate 40% taxes in anything over and above that. And I know for 2023, it actually reverts back to some previous numbers, and I think it was about $2 million. I'm not quite certain. You might have the details. But explain to me how a irrevocable trust fits into the world, especially for estate planning purposes and estate tax avoidance.
Yes, it's always hard to predict or say exactly what those deductions or exemptions will be down the road, because Congress has a way of changing those, and there's sunset laws and there's changes that are always coming. So you never really know. But if you are ahead of the game, you're able to utilize the irrevocable trust to transfer your assets out of your estate and essentially to make them the property of the trust. You might be able to pay the tax today, potentially, on the transfer, or you might be able to capitalize on the fact that the transfer is done while the stock or the bonds or something like that have a much less value. So if I transferred stock today that was, say, worth $500 a share, I might be able to pass that on down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road to the beneficiaries when the stock is worth much more, but I paid the transfer tax today on the transfer. So you can capitalize by doing those types of estate planning methods and mechanisms which can really help you. And it divests your estate, so you might be able to have an estate that was more than 15 million. If I take a certain amount of assets out of it and put those into an irrevocable trust today, I can bring that down below the 12 million threshold, and I can avoid that 40% hefty price tag for the tax that I might be due upon my death.
Interesting. So, different types of trusts for different types of purposes. And it sounds like, this is something that you probably wouldn't want to go alone. And this is something that you want to make sure that you have an expert like Kurt at your side to be able to help you walk through this process, identify what your needs are, what you're trying to do. I know at NCH, we do a lot in the way of revocable living trusts for thousands and thousands of our clients. And then we do a lot in the way of real estate privacy trusts to help people protect their real estate investments and also provide them some privacy from lurking eyes on county recorder records and information that's out there. And those are two of the main things that I know you and your team do extensively and very well for the clients of NCH. So I thank you for that. And I think for anyone listening here today that wants to learn more about how one of these trusts can be utilized for your world or your life, just simply reach out to us at NCH and let us know what you're thinking, what you're trying to do. We've got a team of consultants that will talk to you for absolutely nothing. We don't charge anything for a conversation, and we can go through your particular situation and we can let you know what we think is the best approach for your particular needs, your family's needs, and what your future planning looks like. So please reach out to us and take advantage of that free offer to talk to one of our expert consultants on how a trust might fit you and your needs in your personal life. So Kurt, thanks for being on the program here today. Thanks for educating us as always. You're always a great guest to have on, so I want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. And for all of you tuning in today, I know this has been a quick episode all about the ins and outs of different types of trusts, but I hope you took some of it away and learned a little bit more about how trusts can be utilized in your life. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Court Christie. I'm the founder of NCH. Have a great day.